Yo, welcome back to part two. At the moment of the beginning of this video, I have no idea what all I'm doing in this video. Let me catch you up on some things because I've been out here busting my knuckles literally for a little over an hour now. So we didn't. Let me backtrack. So part one, engine transmission headers. The headers I got didn't fit, which were those cheap ones off of eBay that I was going to try to make fit. So I told you guys we're going to go with the shorty headers that I put in the description of that video. And then the customer and I talked about it, and I looked for some more long tubes, and I came across these show and field. And I mean, let's just take a quick look at the box. This was how I got it with, that's all that was in it for packaging. And this is how they came. So yeah, there's that. And then I 1000% made sure before I sent him the link to these that these fit this model year G body with an LS engine. Of course, I didn't get any instructions or anything. I just got a catalog. So there's that. So I go back to Jeg's website and I look at reviews, and there's no review. Well, there's review, but it doesn't say anything about fitment. It just says about how it came out of the box looking like that. I was like, okay. So I kept scrolling, and then there was questions, and people said, does this fit an 84 Monte Carlo with an LS1 4L60 with factory AC box? And Jegs replied, yes, such and such part number, which is this part number, fits this. It does not fit. This passenger side header will not by any means go in here. I unbolted the engine, lifted it back up, tried to fit it in there. Everything hits the side of the bell housing right there. There's no way. It hits that, and it hits the corner of the lower control arm mount right there. It is absolute debacle. I came from the bottom, the top. I did everything. I left that bolt in and took this motor mount bolt out, and I jacked it up. That way the engine would go up and tilt over. And even with all that space, I still could not get that header to work. So if you are looking at the $400+ show and field headers for, well, on their website it says 78 to 88 G body with an LS. They fit? They don't. Ask me how I know. So, and from what I can tell, pulling them out of the box and them looking like that, somebody else had already tried this and said, nope, they don't fit, send them back. And they sent them back, and now I got them, and I'm like, oh, nope, they don't fit, so I'm going to send it back. So that's where I'm at on this. Another thing is I moved the motor mounts back some so that the engine come forward a little bit more, because it was sitting a little bit too far back for my liking. So when you go to put the slider mounts on, these are the holes you want to mount the slider mount to the ICT plate. The farthest back hole on top, farthest back hole on the bottom, and the same hole on the bottom side under this one. And that goes for both sides. But that is where I'm at now. I assume next we're just going to go with the shorties that I put in the description of part one, because this is absolutely ridiculous. Once again, who told me to do this? But yeah, I will bring you back. Oh, another thing. So I was wondering where the fuel pump was, because it was a couple days ago. Today's November 5th. November 2nd or 1st, I sent him a message. I was like, hey, any estimation on the fuel pump? And he sent me a screenshot of the fuel pump. They delivered it, and they put it right there, and they took a picture of it. Well, I never saw that box. So somebody picked up the fuel pump and took it home with them to put on their G-body, I guess. So I'm waiting on another fuel pump. So that's why I haven't done the fuel system yet. that's why I'm not sure where I'm gonna go with this video, if I'm gonna add the cooling system now or just start putting the engine together, because usually I'll do fuel system first, engine transmission second, or vice versa. I'll do engine transmission in first, fuel pump second, put engine together third, hook it up, test fire it, cooling system, blah blah. But somebody jacking that fuel pump really messed up the feng shui we had going on. And then I messaged the guy, let him know, of course, obviously. And then I asked him, I said, hey, do you want to go half on a new fuel pump, which the fuel pumps are $400+ and y'all know I don't make much money. But obviously I felt bad because I really don't want him or anybody else thinking that I took the fuel pump, because I sold my G-body, so I have absolutely no use for that fuel pump. And obviously I wouldn't do that to begin with, because that's just not, it's not how I roll around here. We don't do that here at Krusty Classics Garage. So he was like, no, it's cool. He said it sucks, but it's cool. And that he'll probably want other work done that's not swap related, and to just, you know, give him a better labor charge for that. So obviously I'll probably just do some other work for free or something, but we'll see. But anyways, headers have been a debacle. Long story short, if you want long tube headers, you're gonna have to pay $800 something dollars, or Speed Engineering, which makes those cheap headers right there. They have them, but G-bodies apparently are very popular to LS swap, and those are out of stock until I think it was like 4 months, if I remember correctly. So shorties it's probably going to be, and then figuring out exhaust is going to be interesting, of course. And then just what else is going to happen, but I guess we'll find out. I'll find out sooner than you. But, my bony ankle, I just ran it into the header. My bad. I wasn't talking trash about you. You just don't work. I'm sorry, we're not working out. I apologize. No need to get physical. Domestic violence. I mean, I like domestic. Anyways, sorry. Anyways, but stop yapping. I'll see y'all with whatever I do next. All right, so it has been about, I think a week and a half later since you just heard me talk. And I've been waiting on the fuel system. I think I mentioned it's been a week and a half since I recorded, so I don't remember exactly what I said, but I kind of have, when I do a swap, I have it in my head how I'm going to go, what steps I'm going to go through. I remember, okay, now I remember, yeah, I said it. I do typically either do fuel system first, or I get the engine transmission in first, and then I do fuel system second, or I do engine transmission second, and then I go from there. That's how I itemize it in my head. Well, that's a big word for an acoustic person. But since I've been waiting on fuel pump, because he got this fuel pump shipped to his house, which I 100% understand why. Obviously, if it came up missing and get in my house, there'd be issues, and I don't want any issues because I'm not trying to screw anybody over, like I said. But I've been waiting on that. He's supposed to bring that by today. So right now, I've just been doing knick-knack stuff that really slows you down after you do the big stuff. I got the engine mounted and tightened for the 8,000th time, but it is in 100% where it's going to stay. I'm setting up the mechanical fuel pressure gauge, which you guys might ask me, how do I set up oil pressure with the stock gauge? And the answer is you can't, because the Gen 3 and Gen 4 LS ECUs, they don't require an oil pressure reading to run, so it's not in there. There's probably somewhere on Google in a thread where you can wire in something from the factory gauge into the LS swap ECU, but I don't do that. I don't care to do that, to be honest with you. It's so much easier to just throw a mechanical gauge in there. And if you're familiar with these oil pressure sensors, they're not the greatest. Or the electric oil pressure sensors that come stock on the engines, like I just showed you, they're not the greatest. So a mechanical gauge 99.9% of the time is the best option, and I run those and everything. So I'm going to run that through the firewall, obviously, but I have an issue where this door doesn't open, so I'm going to have to figure out somehow laying across the dash like your mom does when I'm driving, or across the dash, across center console, and figure out how to get that rod hooked back up to that shifter. Oh my goodness. I've been out here for a minute. Hooked up to the door latch. And then we have some, I don't know what's going on right here. So we have red, which I assume is power, coming to this bolt that's also for power. And then you have the negative cable. Well, maybe they're using it as a positive, but this is positive. So where does this go? This would go on the back of the alternator because that terminal is too small for there. But where does this go? Maybe to the positive? I don't know. But I gotta undo this. One, because it's just all in my way. And two, I don't know what's going on. So I'm going to take this black one off and, well, no, it doesn't matter because the end isn't set up for negative. So I'm gonna have to get a negative cable and a positive cable from the store. So we'll deal with that later. And then what else? I'll probably put the water pump on. Oh, here's what I mainly need to show you. We got headers. Well, we got manifolds. Come on. Okay, so we got these shorties, and they will work. These shorty, I'll put the Amazon link in the description so you guys don't have to do the footwork like usual. They will work, but we are going to have to, let me see, look at the lip on the lip, right? Get out of my way. There's a lip. Well, no, there's something else. There's a lip. See that lip right there? We're gonna have to do that because since we lifted the engine up with this plate, it's gonna interfere with that, which I think even if we didn't have that, I think it'd still interfere. So we're gonna have to, I don't know if I'm gonna cut it or if I'm gonna take Felicia to it. And if you're like, who's Felicia? Felicia's the new girl we got. I know one of y'all got a baby mama named Felicia, and you know she's a heavy hitter. So we're gonna take Felicia to that and make some room. But on the passenger side, which was obviously the biggest issue, we are in there like swimwear. Perfecto. It cuts a little bit. The only thing I have an issue with these is they hug the block pretty tight down there at the collector. I'm gonna have to show you when I have them mounted. I'm gonna have to show you from underneath. But there's not much of a gap for the power wires I'm gonna have to run down here to the crank sensor and to the battery. I mean, to the starter. So I'll show you guys what I do there. But at least they'll fit. And these come with, so you can get these with a 3-bolt flange, but I like the ones that come with the V-band because they give you, I can't take it out with one hand. They give you more clearance around the edge, around the sides, whereas the 3-bolt flange kind of sticks out farther and you have more of a chance of hitting firewall or something. But these are way more expensive than they used to be. I have these exact ones on the CUDA, and when I bought them in 2021, they were like $80. Bless you. Thank you. And no, they were probably about 100-ish, but now they're 200. Of course, go figure. But yeah, we'll do that. We'll mount those. I'm going to put the Valley tray on, which I'm about to get into tuning. So I have heard you can tune out the knock sensors. So we're putting this plate on it. Usually you would put this flat plate on it for no knock sensors when you do a carbureted setup. The customer brought it to me with this, so we're gonna run that. Typically what you would have is just the factory valley tray that has set up for the knock sensors to go in. I'm not well versed in knock sensors and needing them and not needing them. I just always hook them up because that's how they come. But since I'm about to start tuning, almost lost it. Since I'm about to start tuning, I'm going to figure out how to tune out the knock sensors, and then I'll be able to obviously the whole reason I'm going to get into tuning now, so that I can do cam swaps and tune all at the same time. Oh, if you want to know where I got the ECU for this swap, right there. And you get this card that tells you everything they did to it. But other than that, we're going to put the engine together. I want to put the intake on, the valley cover on, the coil packs on, spark plugs on, injector adapters. So there might not be much filming, as much yapping, because I am behind on this quite a bit since I've been waiting on that fuel pump. This should have been 98% complete about a week and a half ago. So I really got to get it moving. I'm also going to put in the transmission. If you remember from the burst video, I got to put in the AN fittings for the transmission lines and the transmission. Just a bunch of knick-knack stuff. So I'm going to set y'all up on the tripod, and let y'all watch me do some boring work. Oof, it's gonna be difficult. Oh man. I think I don't know if I want to cut that. I'm gonna have to get down underneath and hit it from the bottom, because okay, never mind, sorry. Come on, Felicia, do your job, girl. Okay, so another reason I like the V-band setup. This is where your O2 sensor goes. With the V-band setup, you can spin it wherever you need it, in comparison to down there under the car, because it's going to be tucked up close to the floorboard. So if you need the O2 sensor to point down out of the way, or just out of the way of whatever in general, the V-band allows you to go 360, is where the 3-bolt flange, wherever you bolt it, that's where it is. So it's another reason why I like the V-band setup. So let's see how much more work I got to do to get this in. All right, I could have made a whole video on just getting this driver's side header in. There's other headers or short tube manifolds, shorty manifolds. Manifolds? There's no such thing as shorty manifolds, just manifolds, that I think would fit. Well, I'm pretty sure will fit without having to do anything to the floorboard / firewall, because instead of them going that way, they'll basically be like a stock manifold where they'll just shoot straight down right there. And you can see there's plenty of room for that, both right there. And I think over here, well, it'd be pretty tight over here. So that manifold would probably shoot down right where that is. So it'd be pretty tight. So I'm not sure about that one. You can probably try, well, you know what? Let's try. Let's see something. Come on. Thank you. Oh, look at that. Make sure these go in the recycling. Oh, look. I want to work on you already. I want to LS swap you. Let's try a factory manifold. Oh my gosh, that's heavy. I feel like I'm holding one of your mom's titties in my hand. Oh, that was a big girl. Let's see how these stock truck manifolds fit. Of course, I'm gonna have to do this one-handed. Oh. Stay. Hold on. Let me get a better grip. Oh, yeah, those would be good. So there you go. Stock manifolds. You see right. Hold on. Let me zoom in one-handed. You see right there. That'd probably be a little issue. That corner right there. But other than that, stock manifolds. Okay. God damn. Those are heavy. So there you go. That is a stock Gen 3 manifold. Just like that one. Just like that one. But I'm not too sure. Well, I don't know. I should have done this before I put that on, because I'm not taking it back off. I wouldn't be surprised if even the driver's side fit perfectly. So there you go. I mean, stock manifold, it is. That's probably the route I would go, because if anything on this side, maybe just grind down the corner right here to give yourself, let me zoom in again. The corner right here, grind that corner down some to give you even more space. But that's good enough. There you go. That's it right there. Or if you just like these, let me show you how these fit underneath. So you can see those are tight. Actually, I'm gonna have to make room in the floorboard right here for a pipe to fit on, because those are stuck in place. I hope I don't have to take this off again. If anything, I should be able to take the V-band off. Oh, brother. Oh, we'll worry about that another day. I gotta get the passenger side header on, and then I'll put the valley cover on so I don't get anything in there. And then I need to take off the old throttle cable right there. And I need to run the oil pressure line, because it is the easiest time to do those when you don't have the intake on. So I'm going to put on he has blocked off. I don't know why that's like that. You can do it like that, but you have to make sure you get all the air out of the heads before you block the front off. But you can 100% run block off on all four corners. But let me get to that. Let me put this bad boy on, and then we will continue. All right, so I got the old cable out. I got the oil sensor ran, but I'm not gonna be able to do the actual gauge because I have to probably spend 2 hours trying to get this door open from the inside. So that won't happen this video. I'll have to do that behind the scenes. Next, before I put the valley cover on, I'm going to put my LS used engine concoction in it, which consists of the good stuff. But this bad boy. I think with this one, I'm just going to do half a bottle of this and then fill her up the rest of the way with the even better stuff. Now, some of you might say, oh, what about bearing clearance? Well, nobody knows how many miles this engine has on it. I'm sure there's plenty of clearance. So it's not a new engine. It's definitely broken in. It has the cam and lifter, new cam and lifters, but the oil is not going to make a difference on that. Plus, you would think thicker oil on new cam and lifters would be good, right? Isn't that what you think? Even though it's roller cam and all that, it doesn't really matter. But I'm going to pour this down the yapper so I can cover some of the cam directly with oil, and then I'll put the valley cover on. And also I got the oil filter on, which, remember I said that it takes this aftermarket oil pan, the cheap one, Amazon 302-2. It takes a Gen 4 oil filter. Would have gotten a Wix, but they didn't have any, so I got the mobile one, and that's the part number for the one I got. It's also a short filter, as you can tell by the box, so don't have to deal with it hanging too low. But I'm going to put that and that, and then that and that, and back into that. And then we will move on with the valley cover, and we will throw the intake on, and I'll go ahead and throw the coil packs on. And I won't do any wiring yet. Oh, that's another thing. I didn't put this manifold on because I remembered right when I went to stick it in that I want to do the wiring to the starter and the cam sensor before I put this header in, because it is almost impossible to do that when this header is in place. So just a tip from an idiot that did it that way before. But yeah, let me do this and that. And then once I put the valley cover and the intake on and the coil packs, that will be it. And then next video, we'll finally do the fuel system. And then once that fuel system in, it's all downhill, but uphill in a good way. But let's do all that. A little bit for you. Little bit for you. Okay, now let's mix it. This stuff, do not get this stuff on your fingers, because it will never come off. Just like the smell of your mom's piss. I'm just gonna put that in for now. I ended up using the whole bottle, so obviously you saw. So that should be, this is what, 3.5, 4-ish quarts, plus that bottle is probably five, makes it 5.5 quarts. And I think this is a 5.5 quart pan. I don't remember, but I'm not gonna put the dipstick in until I put that manifold on. So we'll just double check the oil, obviously, before we start it. And then some of you might ask me about, or well, you might just be wondering in general about priming the system, because you can put a new cam and lifters in it. The way you, hold on, I can't see nothing. The way you prime an LS is starting it. You can prime it all you want with them and look at the mechanical gauge. You can put it here, or there's a spot right here in the block that's close, right next to the oil pump inside. You can prime it there if you want to, if that makes you more comfortable, whatever, just by turning over the starter or using a garden hose thingy. But the way you prime an LS is you start it. I promise you're not going to hurt anything unless something internally was wrong already. But I mean, priming it is personal preference, I'll just say that. Technically you don't have to, but if you want to, go ahead. I've primed them before with the mechanical gauge back here, and you won't get more than 20-25 psi, and it takes a lot of cranking just to get that. So just put the good stuff in, turn it over, start it, do the LS stuff, it'll be all right. All right, so we are in there. It is finally looking like an LS swap. Remember, it's got to be ugly before it gets pretty. You know, like your mom when she wakes up in the morning before she puts on makeup. But manifold on. I still got to make room on the floor pan under there. Remember, we went over the stock manifolds that I'm going to say 95% sure they would work. Obviously, I didn't put them on. I just test fit that one, and I saw where it could definitely work without maybe some minor grinding on the frame. This side, I don't see why it wouldn't work, because there's a lot more room right there. But if you get them with the engine, it's not going to hurt for you to throw them in there and see what it does. But I don't see why they wouldn't work. You can also look at Summit Racing, or even Amazon has some knockoff cast manifolds. They're going to be cast. They're not going to be metal like this. They're going to be cast, and they're going to shoot straight down, just like this. Well, actually a little bit different than this. So the ones I'm talking about, they'll actually come straight down like this. They won't exit out like that. I think these that exit out at that angle rather than straight down, I think those would work better, especially on the passenger side, because you need to go straight through this gap right here. You don't have room here, and you barely got any room there, and that's why both of the long tubes we tried did not work. So, or spend $1,500 on a set of long tubes and bolt them up to your $300 engine. That'd be cool. Yeah, so oil in, coil packs on, intake on. I'm kind of worried about this vacuum leak. So you can see nice and touching, and then a little open there, but no touching at all here, open. And I tightened that as hard as I could, as much as I could. I hate Allen bolts for anything, because no matter what bit you have in there, they will strip. They will find some way to strip, especially if you really crank down on them. So we'll see how that works and how that acts. Next up, next up I gotta be able to get in this side of the door, because I gotta do throttle cable and the oil pressure gauge. So I'm gonna try and do that tomorrow off camera. Hope the customer said he was gonna be here sometime today with the fuel pump. So once I get that in, I'll have a whole video doing the fuel pump, and then after that we'll do the wiring, which is y'all's favorite part, and then we'll be able to test fire it. Oh, I'm also getting my MPV i3, I think that's what it's called, for HP tuners. It's the new thingy for tuning with HP tuners. So that was $504, and I get that tomorrow, and then I'm gonna hit up YouTube and learn how to tune. I really just, like I said, I need to learn how to tune cam setups, so that when customers bring me vehicles and I do cam swaps, or they bring me a vehicle with the cam in it, I don't have to let them know, hey, you're gonna have to take it somewhere else to tune. It'll be part of the labor charge, which should really help y'all out. And that's all I'm trying to do, is help y'all out. Shirts, I completely spaced it. I just remembered a couple minutes ago, I got shirts, LS swaps and flip-flops shirts. If you watched this all the way through, I should have said that at the beginning of the video, because high five to my 2 people that watched all the way through. I got shirts come in. They said they were supposed to be printed today. It's Monday, so we'll see. I'll probably have to hound them all week to get them, but other than that, that's it for this video. It's just some knick-knack stuff, because I'm waiting on the fuel pump. All I need is the fuel pump, and I can do the entire fuel system. So might as well come out here and do some knick-knack stuff. I didn't do the knick-knack stuff sooner, because I was waiting on little knick-knacks to do what I did today, which was the manifolds. I just got these last night from Amazon. So appreciate you watching. Hope this is helping. I mean, I'm going through the hard work so that you guys don't have to. Well, I say the hard work. The hard work is the manual labor doing all this, but you know what I mean, showing you the ins and outs, so you can do it before you can hammer out the firewall and whatnot before you stick this in and go through 45 minutes of trying to get a passenger side manifold nut. It's ridiculous. But appreciate you watching. Shirts, blah blah blah. Like, subscribe, follow. If you want to contact me, look down in the description, or the details of the video. I forget what it's called. Other than that, like, subscribe, follow. You know, if you really need my contact info, ask your mom. But I told her, you know, don't just be giving out to anybody, especially little badass kids. But appreciate you watching. I'll see you next time. Go LS swap and go build something. Oh, working on this one next, but that's a different story. See y'all next time.